Assalamu alaikum class, and welcome to another session of your World Civilizations class. And today we'll be speaking about the last great Islamic empires. We're speaking about a period that extended from the 1500s until the beginning of the 20th century. We're speaking about three major empires. These are the Ottoman Empire, the Safavid Empire, and the Mughals. Now, let us take a look at the extension of these three empires where they existed. If you take a look at the map here, you will see that the Ottoman Empire in green extended through areas that are current day North Africa, the western part of the Arabian Peninsula, Asia Minor, and parts of the Balkans in Europe. Whereas the Safavid Empire, as you can see highlighted in pink, occupied the area known today as Iran, Afghanistan, Azerbaijan, and the Mughal Empire primarily in modern-day India. These are the three major empires that we're speaking about today. Let us continue now speaking about the Ottoman Empire. Well, the Ottoman Empire occupied the area known mainly, which was the Eastern Mediterranean. Take a look at the map here, and you can see that this empire, in its highest point, in its zenith, spanned three continents and lasted more than 400 years. Here at its largest extent, which is this map was around the year 1600, that's what it shows here. Well, the origins of the Ottoman, they are originally of a Turkish dynasty that rose to prominence in the 13th century, the 1400s, and they established their superiority with the capture of Constantinople, and this was in 1453. By the 1540s, the Ottoman Empire, the military might of the Ottoman Empire was incomparable. It could not be matched by any other state in the world. It even rivaled the military might of China. This empire occupied the areas we know today as Anatolia, Palestine, Syria, Egypt, most of North Africa, current day Yemen, the western part of the Arabian Peninsula, Mesopotamia or Iraq, the Kurdistan area, and in Europe the areas in the Balkans, mainly Hungary and all the way up to Georgia. This state was held together by a strong monarchy or hereditary sovereign, and it was famous for its very organized military institutions. Now let us take a look at the chronology of the Ottoman Empire. We can see here its beginning. It was founded by Osman or Osman, with a simpler principality back in the year 1301. Then by 1356 they crossed the Dardanelles, and it came into full sway with the conqueror Muhammad II. He was known as Muhammad the Conqueror, and this was with the fall of Constantinople. Then there followed a series of rulers, which we will not go into in details here. Suleiman, pardon me, Selim the First, Suleiman the lawgiver, and then a very important event took place, which was the first Ottoman siege of Vienna. And this empire continued until 1918, at the end of World War II. Pardon me, World War I. So we can see that it was the decline of the Ottoman Empire took place with the uh, fall of when the Ottomans were had to leave Hungary, and also when the Russia took back Crimea. We turn our attention now to the Safavid Empire, and this empire occupied parts of West Asia. Let us take a look at the map of the Safavid Empire, the areas where they ruled, and you can see the possessions here highlighted in I think this color looks like orange or pink, but anyway, it's it covered the areas that we know today as Iran or Persia, Azerbaijan, and Afghanistan. This is the area that the Safavid Empire occupied. Let us take a look now at the chronology and the development of the Safavid Empire. The founder was Safiuddin in 1334, and that came, actually they are descendants of a Turkish people also, and it came into being with the rise of Sufism under the ruler of Shah Ismail I. The Safavid conquest of Greater Iran took place in 1500 to 1510, and the different rulers were, as you can see here, the ruler Shah Abbas I, and this extended until the fall of the demise, we should say, of the Safavid Empire under Nadir Shah, when Nadir Shah invades northern India and sacks Delhi. That was in 1739. As we said, this is just a brief synopsis of the material that will be covered more in detail in class. Let us turn our attention now to the Mughals. They ruled primarily in India. Let us take a look at the map of the areas where the Mughals ruled. And as you can see, it occupied all of what is known today as modern India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. This is the area where the extension of the Mughal Empire. It was a very interesting rule which started which started with the invasion of the Mughals from Central Asia. Let us take a look at the chronology of the development of the Mughal Empire. As you can see, it started with the founder Babur. Also, by the way, this empire is also sometimes referred to as the Timurian state, because it goes back to Timur-Lane. As we said, it started with the rule of Babur in 1525, and then there are a series of rulers. One of the most notable was the rule of Akbar, or the Great, who was a very eclectic ruler. He tried to combine a lot of ideas and ideologies into one, which he later referred to as Din Ilahi, which is which was a syncretism of or a combination of different religions, including Christianity and Hinduism and Islam. Here are some other very famous rulers. Jahangir, Shah Jahan, very famous for the building of the Taj Mahal. Aurangzeb, and this continues until the fall or the demise of the Mughal Empire with the rise of the British East India Company. They were responsible for the demise of the Mughal Empire. This is in essence what we wanted to talk about today, but I'll just continue for a few minutes because after the rule of these three great empires, there was an extension to other parts of the world, which I will mention very briefly. First, Central Asia, and the areas in Central Asia um, that we know, for example, the different stands in Uzbekistan and Tajikistan and the different stands, these areas became Islamicized, became Muslim areas. Then there's another area, the southern seas, and let us take a look at the map here. We can see here the beginning of the conquest, pardon me, the incursion, I should say, of the Portuguese and the Spanish in the 16th century, and then the Dutch and the British in the 17th century, and then many European powers established commercial bases throughout Southeast Asia, often cooperating with different Islamic and Hindu Buddhist rulers. Let us take a quick look at an overview of the different. By the way, this map shows the different areas that were occupied by different European countries. We could see the British. The British were there. Most notably, the British, the French, the Portuguese, and the Spanish. In this area, we had the Dutch and the Spanish also. The Spanish in modern-day Philippines and the Dutch in Indonesia. Moving along, very interesting distribution and overview of the religious groups at the time. As we can see, Burma, predominantly Buddhist, then Indonesia, Malaysia, Brunei, predominantly Muslim, and then the modern day, the Philippines and East Timor, Christian. The chronology of the southern seas began with Vasco da Gama in 1498. If you can remember when we spoke about the spice trade, about him landing in Kerala, and this continued, as you can see here, with other incursions by the Portuguese. We will bring this to a quick end here with some review questions. I will just go through them very quickly. You can pause and read them as we go along. Okay, this is why did the Ottoman Empire expand so rapidly? Where were the Safavids? So on and so forth. What were the most important elements uniting all Islamic states? What were Akbar's main policies toward Hindus? These are just some questions for you to consider. How and why did Sikhs develop into a military power? What were the key concepts in Ishraqi or the Illuminationist thinking? And what were the outside powers that that were attracted to the southern lands, southern sea lands, and the European powers that covered them? Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in class. Thank you very much.